There's a secret society within fly fishing.
The members of this society are the anglers who know how to tie multiple knots and can tie them well and can tie them quickly. These anglers know that being able to quickly make changes can help them adapt, making them more efficient and more effective and will increase their odds of catching fish. Today, we're going to show you how you can get on the path to joining them. As of August 2025, there are 1.25 million videos on YouTube related to fly fishing knots, and that's just if you search for fly fishing knots. If you just search fishing knots, there are 6 million videos. Dozens of books about knots, tons of gadgets and tools that claim to save you time and or make it easier to tie knots. In this video, I'm going to tell you 4 truths about fishing knots. Then I'm going to show you a foolproof way to make sure you tie the knot the right way every single time. The 4 truths. Number 1, the best knot to tie is the knot that you can tie the best. What this means is whichever knot you can tie most efficiently and most consistently is the knot you should use. Better to use a weak knot tied well than a strong knot tied poorly. But, number 2, there is no one best knot. Different circumstances, materials, hook sizes, fly types, and presentations call for different knots. You have to know more than one knot. I know anglers that have been fishing for more than 40 years that still only know how to properly tie 1 or 2 knots. Number 3, knowing how to tie multiple knots consistently and efficiently will make you a better angler. And number 4, knots are not hard, and I mean this. Knots themselves are not hard to learn. Think about this for a minute. We either have a single piece of line passing through the hook eye and wrapping around itself, or we have 2 pieces of line that we join together by wrapping them around each other. That's it. 1 piece of line or 2 pieces of line. It can't be that hard. Why do we need millions of videos? Why do we have so many gadgets and tools to tie knots? And why do we lose so many fish, especially big fish, because of knots? Another escapee. Because most of us only know 1 or 2 knots, and many of us can only tie 1 of those knots well. Those who aren't members of the Fly Fishing Knot Knowledge Society will go to great lengths to avoid tying knots. We'll fish the same fly all day. We'll fish our nymphs too close together. We'll fish a way too short leader or fish with wind knots because we don't want to retie. We'll spend 20 minutes trying to untangle a fouled line because we don't want to retie. In other words, many of us will give up on being an efficient, effective angler simply because we want to avoid tying knots. Knots are nothing more than a pattern. Know the pattern and you know the knot. Forget the pattern and you forget the knot. And this is the number 1 reason that anglers use the same knot for everything. They learned new knots, but they forget how to tie them once they get to the river. Here at TroutWise, our focus is wade angling. And as wading anglers who change flies frequently, or at least who should be changing flies frequently, the best knot for us is a relatively strong knot, but more importantly, an efficient knot. In other words, a knot that's easy to tie. And since we are wading and carrying everything with us, we have a limited supply of materials. So we want a knot that's efficient as well. And these will usually be simpler knots with less steps. So really, our only problem when it comes to tying knots is remembering the pattern. Once again, if you know the pattern, you know the knot. Traditional thinking tells us that all we need is practice. Just grab a spool of line and tie the knot over and over until you've memorized the pattern. Since most of us get out on the water only a handful of days each year, we should have plenty of time to learn and practice new knots. But very few of us actually do this. And even if we do, well, let's be honest. How many of us have learned a new knot sitting on the couch at home, and then we get to the river and go to change flies and...
All right, so it was around the main line, let go loop, and then that goes through. Nope, that's not it. Nope. All right, through the eye, form a loop, then this little piggy went to market and screw it. I'll just tie a damn clinch knot.
Not to mention the fact that tying the knot sitting on the couch and tying the knot with frozen fingers in a rainstorm with the wind blowing are not the same thing. One of two things usually happens. Either we forget the pattern or we get one pattern confused with another and tie some abomination of a knot which we then cut off and go back to whatever we know best. What you need is a knot diagram. So maybe you think these cards will solve your problem. You can carry them on the river and always have an example of the knot with you. For most of us, tying knots requires two hands. So which hand am I supposed to hold these cards in? Or maybe you've got knot diagrams on your phone. Okay, but again, which hand are you going to use to hold the phone which you really don't want to drop in the river? Or are you going to head over to the bank so you can safely lay your phone down? That's not only inefficient, but also...
All right, now where'd my fly go? Yep, I still got that. All right. Yep. So we're going to go through the hook eye. Yep. And then goes around there and... Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
The solution is beyond simple. It's so simple and obvious, you're gonna laugh when you see it. And it will cost you almost nothing. Don't waste your money on gimmicks and gadgets. They're unnecessary. We need the knot diagram, and we need it in plain view while we're tying the knot. You simply draw the diagram on the back of your hand with a permanent marker. That's it. With the diagram drawn on the back of your hand, it will be easily visible to you every time you go to tie the knot. You'll get the pattern and therefore the knot right every single time. And because you'll feel more confident with the diagram on the back of your hand, you'll use that knot over and over all day long, committing it to memory. You do need a diagram of the knot you want to tie. And you want a simple diagram. One diagram that shows all the steps, not a 4-part diagram to show what could be shown in one diagram. And you want a permanent marker, nothing that will wash off easily as you land numerous trout with the new knots you've learned. I also recommend a fine point permanent marker for better detail in your drawing. What if I fish in colder weather and I'm wearing gloves? Come on. You know I've already thought about this. If you're wearing gloves, the best solution I've found is a combination of kinesio tape, like you see on athletes, and surgical tape. I'll leave links for both in the description. You need these two kinds of tape because one will stretch and the other will hold the ink. The ink will run on the kinesio tape, making your knot diagram illegible. The ink won't run on the surgical tape, even if it gets wet, but it doesn't stretch, and we need some flexibility. So you take a couple of short strips of the surgical tape and stick them in the center of the kinesio tape. Then draw your diagram on the surgical tape. You can then wrap the kinesio tape around your wrist so that the diagram will still be visible every time you tie the knot. The kinesio tape is flexible and can stretch, so this can work even if you're wearing a jacket. And the kinesio tape can be unfastened and refastened numerous times. So there you have it, the easy, cheap, foolproof way to learn a new knot. Now you too can join fly fishing's secret society. Again, knowing how to tie multiple knots consistently and efficiently will make you a better, more efficient angler. And that will put more trout in the net. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.